Hello my dear friends, and welcome to my channel. My name is Barbara, and today we're going to be looking at narcissism from a metaphysical perspective. So this is going to be a metaphysical, psychic insights, energy type of video. It's not going to be a psychology video, and I am not a psychologist. So that is my disclaimer there. If you guys are really struggling, definitely seek out help, okay? If you are in some sort of narcissistic dynamic, I'm sure there are so many hotlines that you can call when you go on Google. So from a metaphysical perspective, again, this is going to be based off of my experience and experiences that I've had with clients, okay? So when we're looking at it from a metaphysical perspective, basically what that means is we are looking at how does it manifest energetically. And honestly, in the simplest of forms, it's really this, okay? Basically what's taking place on the earth plane is that we are in an intense spiritual WAR, okay? I spelled out the word because certain words you can't say on here. So that's basically what's taking place. And there are a lot of healers, empaths, people who are high vibrational beings who have incarnated during this time to basically free the planet, okay? So that's really what's taking place. And basically what happens is these people, okay, have some sort of mission, have some sort of spiritual purpose to do here, okay? Because it's a planet of duality, so we have light and we have dark. And for a long time, the planet has been occupied by malevolent beings, okay? That's starting to change now slowly, okay? That's what's happening in the world in general. That's why there's so many things that are coming to the surface, because the planet itself is going into the higher vibrations. So through centuries and through time, there have always been these people, so empaths, healers, clairvoyants, psychics, intuitives, that have incarnated onto the earth plane to help humanity break through essentially the karmic wheel that they have been stuck on, okay? Because that's what's happening on the earth plane. It's like a lot of souls are stuck on a karmic wheel and they keep coming back here because they're energetically binded to the earth plane because they have issues with other people that they have not resolved yet. Okay, so that's basically what's taking place. And it's like every time they come back down here, there's some sort of mission, okay? There's some sort of mission or purpose that they have to do. And it's like, basically, as I was saying in the simplest of terms, narcissism is these people, these high vibrational beings who have this mission. Narcissism comes through and comes through to try to throw them off their path. It's really what it is in the simplest of terms, okay? That's why you have a lot of empaths and narcissists. Because what tends to happen is like these beings are beings of love, okay? And unfortunately, the narcissist comes through and is like, oh, this person wants to be loved. They're looking for love, right? And they hook into that energy, okay? And these beings are like, oh, well, I feel this emotion and I'm able to, like the high vibrational beings, they're basically like, I feel this emotion and I am able to feel this. And basically what happens is like, they think that they can help people. They think that they can heal people. And unfortunately what happens, the high vibrational being gets drained of their life force energy. The narcissist person gets stronger. Everything on the earth plane is basically like a narcissistic energy siphoning off of a high vibrational person. Especially in the past, like certain people who were in public roles, public figures, musicians, artists, especially musicians. So basically what was happening in the 80s was that there was the first wave of like the large awakenings that were starting to take place. So Dolores Cannon actually talks about this in terms of like the first wave, second wave, third wave, right? So the first wavers had a huge deal, like a huge hard job to do when they came on the earth plane, because it's like they were coming through with this huge mission to raise the vibration of the planet. And a lot of people, and I'm getting goosebumps as I'm saying this, so confirmation for me at least, a lot of these people that came through basically maybe weren't able to speak, okay, but they came to raise the vibration of the planet through songs, through singing, through their voice frequency, okay? And that's what was causing a lot of awakenings in the 80s. What happened during that time? A pandemic hit, okay? Does this story sound familiar? Anyways, I'm gonna let you guys connect the dots. This is just my opinion only, okay, from a psychic perspective. So that's basically what happened. And it's like a lot of these high vibrational beings, if you really look at them, they came in and left fast, okay? They didn't have long lifetimes. They basically came through, and it's like a lot of them had some sort of illness, maybe physical illness, or were just taken out, unfortunately, right? Because they were raising the vibration of the planet. So there's like that group of people, and then there are actually people who were starting to speak. And then there's also the beings who kind of came. So then what happened basically is like then auto-tune came through, okay? Auto-tune came through, and it's like then that started messing with the frequencies of the music, because these other people picked up on the fact that these high vibrational beings were raising the frequency through their voice, okay? So that's really what was happening. So it's like, we can't have that. We need to, you know, bring the planet back down. We're going to instill fear, because it's like what's happening right now is like we're coming out of the ego, which is the solar plexus chakra and the shadow, into the heart space, right? Because Earth right now is saying no more, we're done. Okay, the Earth itself is ascending. So it's like either you're going with the ascension or you're not, right? There is really no in between. And it's like people who don't want to basically do the inner work are going to go to other planets that are also third dimensional eventually, right? When they complete their karma here, they're going to go there, and then they're going to continue their karma there. So, okay, so this is kind of like history and all these sorts of things, but it's all connected to narcissism, because like the whole structure is narcissistic, and it's like then it trickles from the top down. So it's like you might have people in your life that aren't necessarily narcissists, but they have these traits, because it's like it's trickled from the top down. It's dog eat dog. It's like, let me make my way to the top. Let me do all these negative things to get my way to the top. Let me use this person. Let me use that person. Let me siphon off of this person, because it's like the narcissistic being, okay, which is basically just like an empty vessel. They don't actually have like the light that the healers do, right? Or the empaths, or like whatever you want to call them. Let's just call them like the high vibrational people, right? So they don't have that light. So they usually hide behind the person who has the light. So that's why a lot of the time you'll see like people are going to be praising the narcissist for something that the empath did, right? That's what was happening with a lot of these people in the past, like let's say musicians and all these sorts of things. They got binded into like music industry or whatever, and it's like the narcissists are benefiting from it, right? And it's like they have to follow a certain protocol, right? And it's like as soon as they don't follow it anymore, well, then what happens, right? I mean, you guys can do your own research, but I'm kind of giving you guys like an overall idea what's happening. So that's what happens with the narcissistic energy, and then it trickles from the top down. It trickles into relationships, and it's like, so a lot of, okay, so as I was mentioning, it's like these high vibrational beings believe in love and they look for love, and then the narcissist plays on that, right? Makes them feel loved, makes them feel appreciated. Because the thing is, the high vibrational beings are so pure, okay? They're so pure. They, again, come from like places that they know that these things exist, but on the earth plane, it's not that they don't exist. It's just everyone down here is super unhealed, is really what that is, okay? There's a lot of pain, there's a lot of suffering, there's a lot of trauma, there's a lot of splits within people, and that was all done by design, okay? By this structure, right? It was done by design, by the structure, to break down people. It really is, okay? If you look at everything that's taken place, I mean, I could probably go on for an hour, but I'm not going to get into like every single detail. But yeah, so that's what's taking place with the high vibrational beings. Now what's happening is a lot of people, let's say like the term, so what tends to happen is like, okay, so there's two things that tend to happen. It's like they are able to see where the collective is going to go. So then they start putting in like, let's say buzzwords that are going to become popular. When I say they, this is like the darker side, okay, the darker energy, okay? So they start putting in buzzwords, okay, because they know those are going to become popular buzzwords, but they do it first so they can have control over the outcome, is really what it is. So for example, in the last, I would say 2 to 3 years, the word and term narcissism has started floating around, right? We used to talk about like empath and narcissist back in the day, but now it's like huge. Everyone talks about it, right? And it's huge because it's like, it's the main issue on this earth plane, because it's like I mentioned, people who are unhealed, if they aren't full-blown narcissists, they might possess some sort of narcissistic energy within them, because again, it's the split of the person, it's the split of the ego, and it's like what happens metaphysically, like I don't want to freak people out, but like what happens metaphysically is like when you're split internally as a person and you're not aware that you're split, that's when different entities can come through and operate through your vessel. So with people who have these narcissistic tendencies, there's an entity that's operating through them. And the entity is always trying to bring the empath or the high vibrational person down, because the high vibrational people are here to raise the vibration of the planets. They're here to basically break everybody out of the structure that we have been in, okay? It's really what it is. And that's what's taking place. So that's why there's a lot of like counter action and so on and so forth taking place. And I hope you guys are following. If you're not, maybe it's going to make sense at a later time. If anything, it's going to be seed planting, okay? So that's what's taking place, okay? And that's why it's like a lot of people are talking about it now. This energy is becoming very like brought to the surface because of the fact that, once again, like I mentioned, they know the buzzwords, right? So it's like what tends to happen is then they do infiltration in certain communities. But anyways, that's a different topic for a different day. So that's really what's happening with narcissism. It's like there's an entity operating behind a person and they're trying to go after, and they know the wound. So the thing is, it's like, okay, basically what happens in like, let's say empath and narcissistic dynamics is like there is a mirror wound that's taking place. And a lot of the time it is an abandonment wound. But the thing is, what I've been really reflecting recently, because we live in a reverse world, right? Everything's opposite and inverted, unfortunately, right? And so you always have to question everything. And like, again, you don't have to take what I say to be like the only way, right? I kind of just make these videos to spark thought And then you guys can go and like discern for yourselves and see how it resonates within your body, right? And see how it resonates within your body. But anyways, what I was saying is like, what I have been thinking about recently is like, again, there's been so much projection onto like the empath high vibrational person to be like, that person has the abandonment wound. But my question is, because these people are super sensitive, they're psychic, they pick up on energy. So what I've been wondering is going to be like a chicken and the egg question, right? What I've been wondering is, do these people actually have an abandonment wound, or are they manifesting people into their life who have the abandonment wound, who are actually afraid the empath person is going to leave them because they need to siphon the energy off of the empath high vibrational person? The narcissistic person cannot survive, okay, if they don't have someone that they're attached to and siphoning their energy. It all comes down to energetic siphoning, energetic binding, to keep bringing people down to the earth plane, okay, to keep people here as a food source. I'm sure some of you guys have heard that, especially if you like tune into other people, right? So that's really what's taking place. And it's like, everything is energy, okay? It really, really is. And it's like, that's what everything comes down to ultimately at the end of the day. And it really comes down to this. And then people get stuck on the wheel of karma, as I mentioned at the beginning, right? So it's like people get stuck on the wheel of karma because it's like, you come down, you have a thing that you need to do, right? And then you get distracted. And it's like, how do people get distracted? Well, we know that the mind is the most powerful thing. So television shows, all these sorts of things that plant ideas into your mind, where it's like, was that my thought, or is that something that was planted into my mind, right? So that's really what's important to understand also what's taking place. So it's like, narcissism is a huge thing, especially energetically. It's just like, there's just so much, and it's prevalent in a lot. It's even prevalent within spiritual communities, unfortunately. It's everywhere. It really is everywhere. You have to really become in tune with your own energy to know what's your own energy, to be able to pick up on a narcissistic energy that's coming through another person. Because if there are people who are doing things that are like trying to elevate themselves, or they're trying to siphon their energy, like the energy off of other people to elevate their status, because like, okay, wow, this video is going in an interesting direction. But anyway, someone I guess needs to hear this. So you have a lot of people, like, I'm not going to name names, but maybe some of you guys who, especially if you're like in the metaphysical world, you have heard about this. But like, there's people who say things like, oh, tarot cards are demonic, or I had a demonic experience, or everything in the new age is demonic. No, it's not demonic. You're doing it for the wrong reasons, right? You're literally doing it for the wrong reasons. And it's like, people, it's so unfortunate because like people are psychic and they're gifted, and then it's like they kind of get sucked into this, again, the structure is just the way the structure is, where it's like, I have to do this to get more money, I have to do this. It always comes down, unfortunately, to like the money wound for some people, because it's like they start doing it for ego driven reasons, and it's like they're not being led by like what's actually heart centered. They're being led by their ego, which is that narcissism energy that's coming through. Then they start siphoning energy from their people, right, or whoever they're engaging with. And again, spirit doesn't work that way. So it's like they do have a bad experience, because it's like, we're portals, okay? We're literally walking portals. So it's like, if you fall, you really have to know yourself so well. That's why healing is important. That is why, again, knowing what your energy is important. Knowing when you're being ego driven. We're all human. We're all going to have some sort of ego, especially if we have grown up in the structure, right? So it's really a lot of deprogramming, and like, it just takes time. It takes time, and like you might get it coming up again and all these sorts of things, and it just is that, right? So that's what happens. And then they have like a demonic experience of some sort, you know? And it's like, and then they say everything's demonic. No, it's not demonic. It's you who was in the ego, in the shadow. The ego in the shadow is the narcissistic energy. So you were doing something a little bit narky, unfortunately, and this energy came through. Because it's like, especially if you're channeling and you're opening up your portals, right? And you're doing it for the wrong reasons, you're gonna have bad experiences. Unfortunately, it just is what it is, right? So anyways, that's a whole different video for a different day. But again, that's a different type, that's like a type of way that narcissism energy can also come through. But the main thing to understand is basically narcissists, okay, aren't really who they are. So you might even notice it like, okay, like let's say you have a loved one, right? And like most of the time they're in their divine aspect, but they have a wound, which is that split that I was talking about earlier. They have a wound, and when that wound gets triggered, it's like the narcissistic energy comes through, right? And your face changes, their eyes change, right? You literally feel like the dark energy come through them. And a lot of people have a lot of entities attached to them. It's really what that is, okay? People are walking around with entities attached to them, because it's like, again, everything comes down to your vibration. It honestly is annoying, because like people say it so much that it's become kind of like a, I don't know, like a slogan or whatever. Like people say like, raise your vibration, raise your vibration. But it really does come down to your vibration. So how can we raise our vibration? Doing what we love, being in our truth, speaking our truth. When you speak your truth, and when you just speak like anything, right? You're raising the vibration in general, right? And it's like, people have the wounding in the solar plexus where it's like, either they're worried they're not going to be accepted, or they're worried that someone's going to want to, I don't know, like argue with them or whatever it is. You have to develop a strong solar plexus, okay? That's really what it is. I talk a lot about this in my chakra course. But yeah, so that's really what it is. Truth is the highest vibration. Again, my opinion. Some people are going to say love, some people are going to say gratitude. I feel like truth and freedom are the highest vibrations, because like when you're in your truth, because everyone has a different truth. That's the whole point of being here, right? It's like different people are going to have a different truth. So it's like people get triggered because it's like it comes down to like your existence isn't being validated when someone else is speaking their truth, but it's like it's that person's truth. So if you don't agree with it, it doesn't matter, right? Like you have yours. So it's like, it's funny because I was thinking about it the other day, and it's like it's come to the point where it's like people can't even have a healthy discussion anymore about like opposing sides without it just getting so extreme. Like it's intense. But anyways, like all of these things are coming to the surface to be purged out of the collective, and that's what's happening currently in the world, right? We're going through a huge purge. So it's like a lot of these traits, because like the veil is barely there. It's almost fully gone actually, which is really nice. But if the veil was fully gone, like you guys would actually be shook what some people actually look like. I'm sure some of you are psychic tuning in, you know what I'm talking about. But yeah, so that's really what's happening. And it's like, yeah, that's why everything's just coming to the surface. It's like everything's showing itself, revealing itself, right? Everything is really being brought to the surface. People's true colors, people's relationships that were trauma bonds, all these sorts of things, okay? All these sorts of things. And it's like, it's so funny because it's like, this is what all religions were originally trying to teach everyone, right? All religions, before they kind of got like, okay, so this is the thing also. It's like, there were secret societies for a reason, because it's like, there is certain knowledge that like, if it gets spread out too much to the human ego, it's gonna get like tainted almost. It's like broken telephone. That's the best way to look at it, right? So that's why there used to be secret societies where they kept all this knowledge hidden, because again, they wanted to preserve it, they wanted to keep it pure, right? So originally, the original spiritual aspects of all religions, before it kind of got into this, like whatever it is now, were this. They're all trying to teach people enlightenment. They're all trying to teach people to go into their crown chakra. They're all trying to teach people to come out of the lower wounding. All of them are the same. Honestly, I have book recommendations that I posted on here, so you guys can go read some of that stuff if you're interested in learning. Books are a great way to learn, because now what's happening is like we're in the information era, so like so many people are sharing their opinions, right? So if you guys really want to get down and you're interested in like learning, you know, all these sorts of things, really read books. Okay, that's just like the suggestion that I have for you all. But yeah, this is really what's happening, and that's what's taking place, and that's what the narcissistic energy is. It's to bind people, bring them back down into their solar plexus, into the anxiety, into the fear when you're trying to break out of it. And then when you have that trigger, you're split. That's why wounding needs to be healed, because otherwise you're split, and then like devil energy is gonna come through. This is really like, when we talk about devil energy, like it's very real. Like it's like the devil energy. So this is like the thing. Okay, you know how people say like the best thing the devil ever did was like convince people he's not real or something like that? It's like the devil isn't really an actual being. It operates through people. Like there's several like different entities that operate through people, is really what that is. And then the whole thing is to bring the high vibrational beings down. That's really what it is. That's like at the core of it all, and like the simplest terms is the whole point of everything with narcissism is to bring the high vibrational beings down, to get them trapped, to get them energetically siphoned to the earth plane, so they keep coming back, okay? So they're food source for the other people, because other people, the narcissists, can't operate if they don't have the empath with them. So it's kind of like the narcissistic person needs the empath or high vibrational being more than the high vibrational being needs the narcissist. But what does the high vibrational being have to learn? They have to learn their power. They have to come into their truth. They have to know who they are. They have to know like what they're here to do, like all these sorts of things. And that takes a lot of like time to actually break out of these programs, is really what it is. It's programming. It's all programming. So my friends, I'm going to wrap up this video soon. I'm pretty sure that that's all that I have to say for now, at least on narcissism, what had taken place, why it's here, what it's doing. And yeah, that's really what it is, okay? So if anything else comes through, I will make a separate video. But for now, I hope you guys did enjoy it. Let me know what you guys think, okay? Let me know in the comments, like, what your experiences have been, how this video was for you, if it resonated. And I hope you all have a beautiful rest of the day.